Welcome back to Breakfast Central. We, of course, continue the conversations this morning, starting with conversations in the economy here in Nigeria, as the Central Bank of Nigeria has continued to make moves and promises to strengthen the Naira. The CBN, and of course, the acting CBN governor says Nigeria, of course, is set to take new measures to stabilize the Naira against the dollar. The acting governor of the CBN, Folasodun Sonubi, disclosed this after briefing President Bola Tinubu on what the bank was doing to halt the slide or slump, as it was described yesterday. President Tinubu, of course, has expressed his concern about the impact of recent developments in the foreign exchange market, particularly on ordinary citizens. Sonubi said he assured that the CBN is actively working to improve liquidity and stability in the market, including addressing issues in the parallel market. The question is, how will this affect businesses, the economy, and the ordinary Nigerian out there? We're joined this morning by Dr. Muda Yusuf. He's the Director, Center for the Promotion of Private Enterprise, CPPE. Good morning, Dr. Yusuf. Thanks for joining us.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Great to have you on the program. It's described as trying times for a lot of Nigerians, and of course, also very confusing as to, a lot of people do not know where the Naira is headed or how far it will fall. So I want us to start with addressing the fears that we might even see the Naira hit 1,500 Naira and beyond with the way things are going. From your perspective, do you think that this is very likely?
Yes, it is very likely if the current trend continues. Because what we are dealing with now is a major confidence crisis. And once you have a confidence crisis, people behave sometimes in a way that are not that, very rational. Because now there's a lot of speculative activities in the foreign exchange market. Because in every market situation, once there are expectations that prices will go up higher, or in this particular case, if there's an expectation that the Naira will depreciate further, the demand for the dollar will continue to increase. So until we're able to restore some level of confidence in the system, in the foreign exchange market, this situation is likely to continue. And this confidence can only come from the demonstration by the central bank of its capacity to be able to intervene in the foreign exchange market to stabilize prices. That is the only way that you can restore that confidence. If the confidence is not there, no matter what the CBN says, no matter the threats, there's no way we can stop this slide of the Naira.
All right. Now you've spoken about how it's a confidence issue now. That's one of the issues. The people have lost confidence in the fact that the CBN or maybe that the Naira does have some strength to it. Do you think that this quote-unquote policy announcements would cause any improvements? And what really can be done at this point? If we're saying that we're looking at there's a unification of the markets, the strength of the Naira keeps dropping. What policies can the CBN really implement to help at this point? And will these announcements cause any improvement?
Well, in elementary economics, price is determined by the forces of demand and supply. So for us to, have any major impact in terms of stabilizing prices, we need to look at the factors that are driving supply and factors that are driving demand. Fundamentally, those are the things that can happen. Now, if the CBN is able to demonstrate that it has the capacity to intervene, that is by as much as possible meeting the demand in the R&E window, that is in the official window. That will gradually, help to improve confidence. If the economy is such that it's also able to inspire the confidence of foreign investors, whether they are foreign direct investors or foreign portfolio investors, to the extent that they can begin to bring in their money, I'm talking of hard currency now, into the economy. That will also help. If we are able to improve on our oil production, as you know, the government have been trying a lot to deal with all this oil theft. If we're able to move at least to meet our open quota of about, I think, 1.8 or so, then we expect more foreign exchange to come into the system through the export of crude oil. So basically, those are the things that can happen on the supply side to improve the supply of foreign exchange. If the supply improves, then that will help. And there's also this argument that if we also engage the Bureau de Change in the whole ecosystem of going to source dollars from abroad and also selling at the retail end, that may also help to douse the tension, at least at the retail end, particularly in the parallel market. So on the supply side, those are the things that can happen to improve or to stabilize the exchange rates. It's not necessarily by threat. Threat, if you threaten and nothing happens fundamentally, and people don't still have the confidence, nothing will change. Then on the demand side, we need to move as fast as possible to reduce the amount of petroleum products that we'll import. Again, that will have to do with how fast we are able to move with refining petroleum products locally. Because the importation of petroleum products is also a major source of pressure on the foreign exchange market. Now we have been talking about refineries coming on board. We have been talking about Dangote refineries. Unfortunately, there is no clarity as to when exactly these refineries will come on board. And our import bill on petroleum products will be anywhere between monthly. It will be anywhere between maybe $500 million to $1 billion. Again, depending on how much petrol we import. But it's a major source of pressure. Then we have backlog of demand that has accumulated under the previous dispensation of Muhammadu Buhari, because the CBN at that time was not able to meet a whole lot of demand of foreign exchange. So now that the market has been practically liberalized or freed up, a lot of those demands are coming up onto the market. So if there can be a rescheduling or scheduling of how these demands will come into the market, that will also help to ease the pressure. Then there is a whole lot of problem of speculative activities, which is fueling demand. Because if people continue to speculate, and some of these speculators, some of them are coming with illicit funds. Some of them have, genuine sources of funds. But my suspicion is that there's a whole lot of slush funds out there. And when people are sitting on a lot of process of corruption, they can afford to buy the foreign exchange at any rate, at any price.
Right.
So that component of demand is also there. So there's a whole lot of factors.
Yeah.
On the demand side and on the supply side.
Unfortunately, it sounds, a lot like, we're back to threatening again, because, just like Godwin Emefiele did, it sounded, over time that he did more of threatening than actually putting things in place that would boost the value of the Naira. The current acting CBN governor also, was threatening speculative or speculators in his latest address, and of course saying that they will eventually feel the wrath somehow, some way. Not the exact words he used. But some of the things that you've mentioned also do not look like things that can happen immediately. Boosting our crude oil production, to 1.8, like you mentioned, it doesn't seem like it would happen immediately. And also, many other things that, Nigeria should be focused on if we plan to improve on, the amount of foreign direct investment that we should be getting. Security is one thing that we still haven't gotten, right. The conversations about invading Niger, is also still coming up. So the point I'm making here is that from what it looks, we may not be getting any succor anytime soon. So I don't know if you would also speak with regards the situation concerning the loans to foreign banks, and how it has also affected our what's it called now? Our foreign reserves. Yes. Can you speak on that also, and how that might also play a factor with regards the whole concept of defending the Naira?
Well, that came to many people as a very big shock, because the exposure is quite substantial. And just as I said, we were dealing with a confidence crisis. Apparently, quite a number of people already have information that the capacity of the CBN to intervene in the market is weak. And the revelation from the audit reports of the CBN concerning this exposure has also worsened that confidence crisis. So the issue now is that we are told that we had a liquid foreign reserve, that is unencumbered reserve of about, about 33 billion, 33 plus billion. Now, if you discount that to accommodate this exposure that was released recently, that's exposure to Goldman Sachs and exposure to JP Morgan, you see that we have maybe just 50% of what the CBN claims that we have as reserves. So to what extent can that actually cover, the import and strengthen the capacity of the CBN to cover, to support the Naira? So those again are issues. And the effect that will have is that it will further worsen the speculative component of demand, because what is driving all of these things are not the real effective demand for forex for economic activities. No. The major driver of this is the speculation.
So how then do we
So if you have this situation now, it's going to fuel the speculative activities.
So how
and
then do we
the
curb these speculative activities is the question we are asking. In the past few weeks, months, if we may, we would see that the Naira, there have been concerns, people have had concerns about the Naira. Speculative demand has been on the rise because, of course, people have not had confidence in the Naira. What measures do you suggest we might employ to curb the speculative demand?
So the only thing to do about speculative demand, first, is to ensure that at least in the I&E window, the official window, where at least the government has some control, there has to be a proper scrutiny of the demand that is coming into the market. Because the system is a bit loose, where anybody just comes into the market with all manner of demand for forex and puts pressure on the foreign exchange markets. So there needs to be a lot more scrutiny of what is going on in the financial system, whether in the parallel market as much as possible, because the parallel market is so difficult to control, and more importantly in the official window, so that there has to be some control, some scrutiny of demand, to know that if you are demanding for foreign exchange, you must be demanding for something concrete. There must be evidence, there must be invoices to show that you are importing what you actually needed to import. Okay. That is one. The second short way, which, well, that may not also happen immediately, is to resort to IMF. Seek for special drawing rights to get some facility, bridge this gap in the meantime, while we hope that, we'll have an improvement in our oil production, we restore some confidence among our foreign investors and portfolio investors, and also among those who are exporting. And again, for those who want to import foreign exchange into the economy, we should not overly control the rate at which they will get their Naira. Because if there is too much control, those inflows will also disappear. Because I think I heard that the CBN was saying that, or telling the banks that they should just give a margin of about either 5 Naira over the official rate to whoever is bringing in foreign exchange from autonomous sources. If you go ahead with that kind of policy, all these other inflows will just disappear.
I'm sure a lot of Nigerians will not be excited about
I think we have to be careful.
Yeah, I'm sure a lot of people will not be excited about the IMF option. But I also want to ask if you feel like, or you have any feelings that we might see a reversal of some of the policies that the current administration came into office with. Because if the Naira continues to fall, it means that petrol prices will continue to rise. And at some point, it's going to be too expensive for Nigerians to afford. There were rumors yesterday about a reversal on the petrol subsidy. Temporary suspension. Exactly. So, do you think that at some point we might see a reversal of some of those policies? And was the administration putting the cart before the horse with some of the moves that they made when they came?
No. You see, those policies are necessary. But you see, and when you adopt those policies, you can only go so far. We are talking about a market-led economy. We are talking about market forces. We are talking about demand and supply determining prices. But there is a limit that you can go with that. You need to define the limits of adoption of some of those policies. I think that is what the president was trying to say. In the foreign exchange market now, you can see that in the official window, the rate has stabilized somewhat. What we are worried about now is the parallel market. That is a form of intervention, and that's a form of, moderating the influence of demand and supply on market forces. Because when we started out initially, the whole idea was for the official window to be chasing the parallel market rate to close the gap. But we have seen the kind of instability that has caused. So the CBN has decided now to apply some brakes in allowing pure market forces to determine the exchange rate in the official window. That is why the rate has been that stable. Unfortunately, it has been leading to a widening of gap between the parallel rate and the official rate, unfortunately. But that has to happen as a form of intervention. The same thing is likely to happen with fuel price. The president has announced that there will not be an increase in fuel price. That's also a form of intervention. Because if you continue to leave the fuel price to market forces, to this fluctuation in the foreign exchange market, fuel price will go to 800,
how does he prevent an increase in fuel price? Because the argument is that if the Naira continues to fall, fuel price will, have to, go higher. So how does he, verbally just stop an increase in fuel price? Does that mean that, they will have to start subsidizing it? Is that what it means?
That is the point. That's what it means. There will be limited subsidy.
Okay.
So that you don't allow the price to go beyond what it is. I mean, there's a limit to all these market forces. You can't just leave the economy entirely to this concept of market forces. In every economy, there's what you call market failure. Once you get to the point where you see that the market is hurting the people, you apply the brakes. That is what the president is doing, and that is the way to go.
All right. So at the point that
if
the announcement
government through the NNPC need to support more inflows, more supplies, the government has to do that.
All right.
You can't just allow the price to continue to go up.
Mr. Yusuf, at the point that the announcement of the Naira being floated, experts did say that the only way that the Naira would find its rhythm would be, of course, if the CBN does not interfere with the floating process. What we're seeing, unfortunately, is that the reverse is the case. Things have gotten worse. Some experts have argued that one way to bridge the gap between the I&E window and the parallel market would be to inject FX into the market. Do you think that would be a valuable option to explore at this point?
That is why I was talking about all the possibilities of strengthening the capacity of the CBN to intervene. I talked about possibility of going to IMF. I talked about possibility of increasing our oil production. I talked about possibility of ensuring there is more confidence in the system to be able to attract more foreign exchange.